senior U.S. defense official now says Russia is making minimal progress at best as they're being slowed by supply issues, low morale, and a new, more careful approach in the Donbas region of Ukraine. Let's bring in ABC News contributor, retired Marine Colonel Stephen Ganyard, for more on that. Colonel, thanks for being here. You know, this U.S. official says that Russia's issues aren't just because of poor planning, but also because of Ukraine's stiff resistance. So how have Ukrainian forces been able to hold off the advance in the east so far?
They're doing it primarily, Diane, because they're getting lots of U.S. and NATO help, and they're also on the defensive. The defensive is much easier in terms of the way wars are conducted. So, and they also have the morale, as you noted there. The morale of the Russian military is quite low. There's reports of mutiny, of soldiers not wanting to fight, and so the Russians have a very difficult task in that their military has shown itself to be incompetent and corrupt, while the Ukrainians believe that they have the moral force behind them. But I do think that we are not seeing all of the Ukrainian losses. Ukrainians are taking losses, and over time, just the mass and the available military power favor the Russians.
The official also says that Russian troops have been leaving the Mariupol area to push north in the last few days. Does that signal a change in strategy?
No, it's something that we think that they've been trying to do for quite a while. Is that what they want to do is bring those troops up from Mariupol to the Donbas to try and seize territory and complete the whole annexation of the Donbas, as Ian was referring to there. So this is something that we've seen before. It's just going to see, I guess the real big test here is going to be what happens on May 9th at the victory parade in Moscow. What does Putin announce? Does he announce that there's now a full-blown war against Ukraine and allows him to bring up reservists and to mobilize the country in ways that he hasn't before? Or does he just say, you know, we're close to being done here, we've gotten the territory that we want, and the war's over? And he keeps that land bridge to the Crimea, and he keeps all of the Donbas, and hands a fait accompli to the Ukrainians. We'll wait and see what happens on May 9th.
Now, where do those scenarios leave the hundreds of civilians still trapped in that steel plant in Mariupol?
I think that as they begin to push in, the Russians are pushing in quite hard into Mariupol. I'm not sure that the Ukrainians have the ability to resist much longer there. I think one way or the other there's going to be resolution there. We've seen some of those civilians be able to get out, but that's a very, very dire situation. It's really going to depend on what the Russians do in terms of holding Mariupol, whether they try to hold the territory or whether they continue to press north.
And Ukraine's Ministry of Defense now says that its forces have regained control over several settlements near Kharkiv. If that's the case, how significant is that?
It's very interesting. Now, I was surprised to hear that Ian said that there was shelling in Kharkiv because there's a strategic town about 40 kilometers, so about 6 times 4, 25 miles outside of Kharkiv, and it was retaken by the Ukrainians yesterday. So the Russians throw some shells towards Kharkiv and then they back off, but the Ukrainians are doing quite a good job pushing them, the Russians, out of Kharkiv. So that's quite impressive that they're retaking territory. Whether they can do that in the Donbas or down towards the south is still an open question.
And the UK Defense Ministry says that Russia's military is now significantly weaker, both materially and conceptually, than it was prior to its invasion of Ukraine. What do you think that does for the prospects of the longevity of this war, but also for Russia's place in the world in general?
Yeah, Russia's military has deep systemic problems. Corruption is a problem, poor leadership, poor morale, poor training. They have good kit, but they don't put it to good use because the military is just so corrupt. And so it's not like they can just go ahead and throw a bunch of people, reservists, into these battalions that are operating in the Donbas. The problems that they have are so deep that it's going to take them decades to overcome.
All right, Colonel Steve Ganyard, we appreciate your analysis as always. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.